Give a schmeichel, give a schmeichel, give a schmeichel, give a smile. Give a schmeichel, give a schmeichel, be the reason someone smiles. Give a schmeichel, give a schmeichel, give a schmeichel, give a smile. Give a schmeichel, give a schmeichel, be the reason someone smiles. Give a schmeichel, give a schmeichel, give a smile. Give a schmeichel, give a schmeichel, be the reason someone smile. Give a schmeichel, give a schmeichel, give a schmeichel, give a smile. Give a schmeichel, give a schmeichel, be the reason someone smiles. Simba, gedola, liyo, liyo, besimcha. Simba, gedola, liyo, liyo, besimcha. Simba, gedola, liyo, liyo, besimcha. Simba, gedola, liyo, besimcha. Simba, gedola, liyo, 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 besimcha. Be the reason someone smiles. 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 Simba gedola, liyo besimcha. Simba gedola, liyo liyo besimcha. Simba gedola, liyo liyo besimcha. Simba gedola, liyo besimcha. Be the reason someone smiles. 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 Give a schmeichel, give a schmeichel, give a schmeichel, give a smile. Give a schmeichel, give a schmeichel, be the reason someone smiles. Give a schmeichel, give a schmeichel, give a schmeichel, give a smile. Give a schmeichel, give a schmeichel, be the reason someone smiles. Simba gedola, liyo liyo besimcha. Simba gedola, liyo liyo besimcha. Simba gedola, liyo liyo besimcha. Simba gedola, liyo besimcha. Give a schmeichel, give a schmeichel, give a schmeichel, give a smile. Give a schmeichel, give a schmeichel, be the reason someone smile. Give a smile, give a smile, give a smile, give a smile. Give a smile, give a smile. Be the reason someone smiles. Siva, gedola, liyo, liyo, besimcha. Siva, gedola, liyo, liyo, besimcha. Siva, gedola, liyo, liyo, besimcha. Siva, gedola, liyo, besimcha. Siva, gedola, liyo, 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 besimcha. Be the reason someone smiles. 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 Siva gedola, liyo besimcha. Siva gedola, liyo liyo besimcha. Siva gedola, liyo liyo besimcha. Siva gedola, liyo besimcha. Someone smile. Be the reason someone smile. Be the reason someone smiles. Be the reason someone smiles. Be the reason someone smiles. Give a smile, give a smile, give a smile, give a smile. Give a smile, give a smile. Be the reason someone smiles. Give a smile, give a smile, give a smile, give a smile. Give a smile, give a smile. Be the reason someone smiles. Siva gedola, liyo liyo besimcha. Siva gedola, liyo liyo besimcha. Siva gedola, liyo liyo besimcha. Siva gedola, liyo besimcha. Give a smile, give a smile, give a smile, give a smile. Give a smile, give a smile. Be the reason someone smile. Give a smile, give a smile, give a smile, give a smile. Give a smile, give a smile. Be the reason someone smiles. Siva gedola, liyo liyo besimcha. Siva gedola, liyo liyo besimcha. Siva gedola, liyo liyo besimcha. Siva gedola, liyo besimcha. Siva gedola, liyo liyo besimcha. Siva gedola, liyo liyo besimcha. Siva gedola, liyo liyo besimcha.
Breakfast with Elli.
Mode ani lefanecha melech chai v'kayam shechazarta bi nishmati bechemla rabba emunatecha.
Sure. You rap the phone today?
Of course.
And do you rap every day?
Sure.
It's amazing. What does the phone mean to you?
Tefillin is a connection, heart and mind. When you put it on, also you feel a certain connection with your heart, and building a bridge also between your mind and your heart, which is something that's sometimes we think they're very close. We put them on and we think, and we actually go through the prayers, and God made it that there's a certain connection between the heart and the mind. It's not just by a chance that it's that way. Because we put it on, also we put on the weaker hand, we put it on the shalrosh, and we connect. That's the antennas, so to speak, the Wi-Fi, the spiritual Wi-Fi that we have.
Wow.
Good morning and welcome to Breakfast with Elli. It is Monday, the 4th day of December, the 21st day of Kislev. The Torah portion is Vayishlach. HaYom Sheini Shabbos, the second day, counting up towards Shabbos. Learn the second Aliyah, and Chanukah is just 3 days away. What? How is that possible? Chanukah is just 3 days away. Good Shavua Tov. How was your Shabbos and your Sunday? I hope everything is wonderful and that Hashem may bless you with everything you need and a little bit of what you want as well. All right, let me just make a correction over here. I put the wrong parsha in the thingamabobber here, and I want to make that right before we continue. So just 30 seconds. That's all I need. All right. That's great. And I will fix this. All right. Okay, fantastic. Let us move on. Boys and men, please take your front tzitzis. Let's make a bracha.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddishanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu al mitzvat tzitzit.
Right, al divrei Torah.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddishanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu al divrei Torah.
Areni Mekabel.
Hareini Mekabel alai mitzvat aseh shel ve'ahavta l'reacha kamocha. I take upon myself every single day to love my fellow friend in a very special way.
Torah Tziva.
Ay Torah tziva lanu Moshe morasha keilat Yaakov. Torah tziva lanu Moshe morasha keilat Yaakov.
Right, let's give some tzedakah.
I put it in the pushki, there's a doctor box. I put it in the pushki, it's a doctor box. I put it in the pushki for someone else to keep. Yeah, I put it in the pushki, that's a doctor box. I put it in the pushki, that's a doctor box. I put it in the pushki for someone else in need.
Good. Okay. And now it's time to say the Shema. Let's do it, and let's do it with the Shema Unity Project so we remember. All right. That brings us to breakfast. Are you ready? With this beautiful video background that I saw. You like that? Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam shehakol nihiyah b'dvarai. All right, let's go.
Coffee, blessed coffee. God bless you for being a friend. When the whole world turns on me, it's only you on which I can depend. I want to taste you in the morning and a few times throughout the day. Yes, a cup or two in the evening too. For me, it's the only way. Yeah.
All right. Fantastic. Today in Jewish history. All right, here we go. The 21st day of Kislev. Good morning, Avi. The 21st day of Kislev in the year 3448 from creation. There occurred an historic meeting between Shimon HaTzadik and Alexander the Great of Macedonia. The Sumerians, who were bitter enemies of the Jews, had convinced Alexander that the Jews' refusal to place his image in their temple was a sign of rebellion against his sovereignty and that the holy temple should be destroyed. The Kohen Gadol, the high priest at the time, was Shimon HaTzadik, Simon the Righteous, the last of the Anshe Knesset Agdola, the men of the Great Assembly, who rebuilt the Holy Temple and revitalized Judaism under the prophet Ezra. On the 21st day of Kislev, Alexander marched on Jerusalem at the head of his army. Shimon, garbed in his vestments as a high priest and accompanied by a delegation of Jewish dignitaries, went forth to greet him. The two groups walked towards each other all night, and at the crack of dawn, they met. As Alexander beheld the visage of the high priest, he dismounted his horse and bowed respectfully. He explained to his men that he often had visions of a similar leading man leading him into battle. Shimon HaTzadik brought the emperor to the Holy Temple and explained that Judaism prohibits the display of any graven image. He offered to name all the male children born to the priests that year Alexander as a demonstration of his loyalty to the emperor, which is how Alexander became a common Jewish name. The Sumerian plot was rebuffed, and Kislev the 21st was declared a holiday. Today is also the day that the Satmar Rebbe, Rabbi Yoel Teitelbaum, was rescued from the Bergen-Belsen concentration camp in 1944, along with 1,368 other Jews, through the efforts of Rudolf Kastner, the head of the Zionist rescue operation in Hungary. An earlier transport of 1,686 Jews had been rescued on the 29th of Av. The Satmar community celebrates the 21st day of Kislev as a day of thanksgiving. And it's wildly interesting to know that while the Satmar Chassidim are not great fans of the state of Israel, the Satmar Rebbe himself was rescued by a Zionist. I always thought that was kind of ironic. Yes, indeed. Thank you. Someone just commented on that. All right. The greatest ironies. One of the world's great ironies. It is true. It is very, very true. All right. Things are happening in Israel. I found this extremely compelling.
October 7th, when we started to work and collect the bodies, I went to meet a 92-year-old Holocaust survivor. I want to meet him and I want to see the difference between the Holocaust and what we saw in this attack. I showed him some pictures, images, and I told him what our eyes saw. He starts crying like a baby. And he said, believe me, what you saw doesn't come close even to the Holocaust. It's worse. It's much worse than the Holocaust. We didn't see that in the Holocaust.
עוד יבואו ימים טובים, גם בשעות החשוכות של הלילה, תמיד יהיה כוכב קטן שיעיר לך את עצמך, את הדרך הביתה, תמיד זה הכי חשוך לפני הזריחה. מיליון רכבות דוהרות עד אוסטרליה, מחפש רחוק את מה שנמצא לך מתחת לאף, כל מכשול זה מדליה, קם ונופל אבל בדרך שלך.
All right. And that takes us to HaYom for today, the 21st day of Kislev.
היום הזה הוא זמן שמחתנו, שמע את התפילה שבליבנו, ותמחול את כל עוונותינו.
Torah, God's wisdom, has the power to change you and change the world. Today's reading of HaYom says, learn Mishnah by heart, each person according to his or her capacity. And then, when you're walking in the street, because you can't always have a book in your hands, but if you study Mishnah by heart, then even when you are walking in the street, you can review your study of Mishnah from memory. Now, when you're walking down that street and you're studying Mishnah, not only are you elevating yourself because your mind is preoccupied with Hashem's wisdom, but you are also elevating the very street, the very stones upon which you walk. Hashem's wisdom and holiness is now being brought into not just your own self, but into the environment that you inhabit. And what happens when we bring more meaning, more purpose, more divine presence into the world that we live in? The more we do that, the closer we get to a perfect world. Hence, the HaYom continues that by studying Mishnah, reviewing Mishnah by heart in the street, you will thereby merit welcoming the Mashiach. Chassidim, how do you define a chassid? Is a chassid a guy who wears a certain garb, talks a certain language, or lives in a certain place? Possibly, but the Rebbe didn't think so. Chassidim must study Chassidus. All Chassidim must study on Mondays, Thursdays, and Shabbat. Tamimim, those Chassidim that were fortunate enough to study in the yeshiva founded by Rabbi Sholem Ber, the 5th Rebbe of Chabad, Tomchei Tmimim, those Hasidim have a higher standard, and they have to study Hasidus and for an hour every single day. So the more you study, you can change yourself and you can change the world.
Beautiful. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. All right. A word from our sponsors.
And now, a word from our sponsors. PestProRidol.com.
PestProRidol.com. Trusted by the best to keep away the pests. We are offering COVID-19 disinfection services. Mention this ad and get 1 month free service. Visit us at PestProRidol.com.
Tarzane Group. Micro, miniature, and small orchids. Go to tarzanegroup.com or call Tomas at 305-440-0565. That's 305-440-0565 and order today. Visit Tomas and Yair at tarzanegroup.com. Micro, miniature, and small orchids. Beautiful in your home. Go to the website and read Tomas's orchid blog. And by Dina D Design. DinaDDesign@gmail.com. Fine artwork, custom made to your specifications, logos, wall hangings, Judaica, and you can even have something for your child's room. Dina D Designs. Go to her Facebook or Instagram or call or text. Thank you very much to our sponsors. If you'd like to become a sponsor, please go right up here to where it says patreon.com/theactorsrabbi, and you can contribute even only $1 a month if you'd like, but that'll help us bring this broadcast to you on a daily basis and cover our expenses. Be sure to thank your sponsors when shopping and mention Breakfast with Elli when you're shopping there. There might be discounts. Thanks for watching.
Torah, 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 Siva Lanu Moshe. Torah, 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 Siva Lanu Moshe.
All right. Patreon.com/theactorsrabbi or breakfastwithelli.live/tipjar or breakfastwithelli.live/new-computer if you would like to help us get to that goal of having a new computer. Parshas Vayeshev. The picture presented to us at the opening of Parshas Vayeshev is one of almost idyllic perfection. Yaakov's family is complete. His children are all loyal to his ideals. He's amassed great wealth, and he's returned to the patriarchal seat in the Holy Land. He's assumed the mantle of leadership. Moreover, he has solidly established his reputation by physically and spiritually overcoming 3 adversaries, Lavan, Esav, and Shechem. And he's both esteemed and feared by the surrounding population. It would seem that all that remains for him to do is to continue raising and guiding his family until it grows large and viable enough to constitute a people ready to receive Hashem's Torah. Even the name of the Parsha, Vayeshev, which means he dwelt, he settled, is an image of pastoral serenity. After all the suffering he underwent, Yaakov thanked Hashem for this respite and asked him to grant him continued tranquility. Clearly, he reasoned, he could fulfill his divine mission better if unburdened by enemies and other worries. So, Yaakov asked Hashem for tranquility for the same reason that we long for Mashiach, in order to be free of all the impediments to fulfilling Hashem's will in the fullest way possible. And indeed, Hashem approved of Yaakov's desire and granted the petition, at least to a certain extent. He allowed him to enjoy relative peace and comfort for a full 9 years after arriving in Hebron. But as we immediately discover, there was a pernicious sibling rivalry brewing beneath the tranquil surface, which, when it emerged, would threaten to destroy the family and dash any hopes that his brotherhood would ever become the bearers of the patriarch's vision. First, Yosef was sold into slavery by his brothers. Then Yehuda parted company with them to form an alliance outside the family. Yaakov himself remained inconsolable over the loss of Yosef, and it would seem then that the rest of the parsha, that is, all but the first verse, reflects anything but the tranquility implied in the name. To understand this seeming contradiction, let us recall that Yaakov knew that fulfilling the divine mission of making the world into Hashem's home was based and dependent upon his overcoming the metaphysical power of Esav, and that Yosef embodied the spiritual qualities that would facilitate this achievement. Yaakov therefore saw Yosef as his natural successor. So, although the last 6 parshas of Torah are devoted to Yosef, the last 4 of these detail how Yosef fulfilled his father's expectations of him, providing the leadership needed by the next generation. And we will continue that tomorrow, God willing. What do we have over here? Yeah, I know. I understand. All right. In the second Aliyah, Yosef's brothers were away tending their father's sheep when Yaakov sent Yosef to see how his brothers and the flocks were faring. When Yosef's brothers saw him approaching, they plotted to kill him. Reuven, however, implored them not to shed blood, advising them instead to cast him into one of the nearby pits. Reuven's plan was to return later and rescue Yosef from the pit. All right. Chumash and Rashi with Rabbi Afson. right. Fantastic. And that takes us to Parsha Points with Rabbi Epstein.
Parsha Points Vayeshev for Monday. There's an odd little detail when Yosef arrives in Shechem expecting to find his brothers there, but they've left. And some guy, later identified as an angel, he comes along and tells him where they've gone, to Dosan. For this you need an angel? Why do we need to know this part? In life, sometimes the story gets stuck, and we need a little nudge to get it along, to move it to the next stage, to where it needs to be. No dramatic music, no lightning, no theatrics. You can be that agent of change for somebody else, and all it takes is to be concerned with them and offer them a little guidance.
A little bit goes a long way. All right, Shnayim Yomi for today.
Parshas Vayeshev Sheini. The Torah now begins to set the stage. The brothers go to Shechem to pasture their flock, and Yaakov sends Yosef on a mission to go after them, to see as Shlom Achecha veShlom Hatzon. And the Torah specifically tells us that Yosef goes from Emek Chevron, and here is where the journey begins, where the mission is set from. And Rashi tells us that Chevron is not in a valley, in an Emek, it's in a hill. Nevertheless, there is deep and profound plan at work here. It is amok, it is deep. Yosef arrives in Shechem. He meets an anonymous ish who points him to Dotan, where he believes the brothers have proceeded to. Yosef proceeds to follow them to Dotan. And there, as he approaches, the brothers see him and they hatch their plan. L'chu v'nahargehu v'nashlichehu be'achad haboros v'amarnu chaya chalasu. We'll say that we'll throw him into a pit, we'll try to kill him, and we'll say that some animal, some beast killed him. Let's kill him and throw him in a pit, they say. Reuven, however, has plan B. And he says, don't kill him. Just dump him in a pit. And Reuven's plan was, of course, to set Yosef free at some later point and return him to Yaakov. Laman hatzilo so miyadam lahashivo el aviv.
And that takes us to Rabbi Martyr.
Of, let's say, the flocks. Good morning. We continue with a 3-minute daily dose of Torah. Yehuda descends from his brothers, and he goes down to this Adulamite. So, what does it mean to go down? By Yered Yehuda. We should know the following. Adulam and Kislev are in the foothills of the Hebron Ridge, to the south of the valley of Elli. If any of you have ever actually taken the road from Gush Etzion down towards Beit Shemesh, okay, eventually you're in the area of Elli. So you should understand where we're placing it. Timnah is only a few kilometers north of Adulam. The city of Einayim lies between them. All are south of Beit Shemesh. Okay, so the simple reading is Vayered Yehuda is exactly how he travels. Right, that's what it is. Even though we're talking about the story of Shimshon going to the same area, and he seems to go up, so it might just be which direction you're coming. He lives in the Hebron Hills, and so he goes down. The Abravanel doesn't like it. He says the following. This was not a topographical descending, says the Abravanel. Ella, she'azav chevratam b'inei hatzon, that he descended from his brothers, that he left being in the close circle of that relationship in matters of, let's say, the flocks. He ended up finding a new buddy, and you should know that is a downgrade. a downgrade. He has finer relationships and finer friends with his brothers, and for some reason Yehuda has chosen a different circle around this fellow, this Chira, and that is Vayered, because he's clustered himself with him instead. Now, interestingly, the Midrash Rabbah wants to contend that Chira is a really good guy. They kind of blend him together, Chira with Chiram, and claim that that's the same individual. Who's Chiram? Chiram is the king of Tyre at the time of David HaMelech, of King David. And the contention is that this has been a relationship that has been long-standing with the house of Yehuda, which becomes the house of David many, many hundreds of years later. But it becomes a bizarre teaching. I have to tell you, it's a bizarre teaching, and becomes a person who lives for a very, very long time. And so whether they really mean that, and the Gemara seems to say, the Midrash seems to take it that they really meant something like that, but or it could be there's just sort of a line of this family that maybe is here for now and later moves up to Tyre, and they've always are close with the house of Yehuda and David, and seemingly fine folks. In which case we're in search of a different understanding of Vayered Yehuda. If it's not topographical and it's not the Chevra, then what is it? That will look out one more tomorrow. Wishing you all a good day.
All right. Fantastic. Unfortunately, we don't have Rabbi Zilberstein today, but we do have Michael Kigel.
Are rabbis a bit judgmental sometimes?
Judgmental! The rabbi's judgmental!
Sometimes.
Tzedek, tirdaif. Justice, you shall pursue. The whole Torah is predicated on justice and therefore on judgment.
What do you think?
He's a bit scary.
Right?
But ask him if he thinks rabbis always judge fairly.
Who is this little girl? And why is she even part of this mature discussion?
Do rabbis always judge fairly? I mean, isn't it possible for even the greatest judge to misjudge sometimes? Even a court, a beit din of the greatest judges.
A beis din, a tribunal of holy rabbis, men erudite in Torah matters, in the highest degree of erudition, are next to infallible.
Take the case of Joseph's brothers, for example. When they decided to execute him, they did so on the basis of a reasoned judgment that he, Joseph, had brought a bad, incriminating report of them to their father, so that they would incur their father's curse.
Who says this?
Rabbi Ovadia Sforno, 16th century Italian Parsha.
I know who the Sforno is.
According to the Sforno, Joseph's brothers had misapplied the rule of Haba lehargecha, hashkem lehargo.
If someone comes to kill you, wake up early and kill him first. Sanhedrin 72a.
Yosef's brothers were all tzaddikim, righteous men. What, you think they were a bunch of hoodlums?
Chas v'shalom.
Hoodlums.
Aye, chas v'shalom. This is why the Sforno specifies that the decision of the brothers to execute Yosef was a result of rabbinic judiciousness.
But they were wrong.
Why is this little girl allowed to speak?
They were wrong.
They were wrong, the brothers.
Ah, yes, which is why Reuben, the eldest brother and supreme judge, overruled their decision and spared Yosef's life.
And instead, the brothers threw Joseph into a pit.
An empty pit.
A pit with no water in it.
Ein b'mayim, there was no water in it. What does any of this have to do with the fact that Yosef's brothers came to a judgment that was
wrong?
Chutzpah.
The judgment was wrong.
It wasn't exactly wrong.
What, Joseph was guilty?
Not exactly guilty.
Because there was no water.
What does water have to do it is, hacken mir ein Scheinig mit dem Wasser.
The water, or the lack of water, in the pit was symbolic. Water represents the fact that a totally selfless commitment to the Torah is tasteless. Water is bittul.
Bittul?
Bittul means negation.
I know what bittul means, little girl.
Are you related?
Uncle.
Is he always this irritable?
He's a bit quick to judge sometimes.
Excuse me, but I can hear everything you're saying, which is not very respectful, doesn't show very much bittul, and you still haven't explained in clear terms what bittul, total humility, has to do with the absence of water in Yosef's pit.
Joseph's brothers. Do you want to?
Please.
Joseph's brothers were tzaddikim.
Righteous men, righteous judges.
But the sense of self-importance wasn't completely negated in complete humility.
When they passed judgment on Joseph, they still factored in their own importance into their judgment. They refused to apply what they knew to be divine wisdom in this case, if this wisdom had no taste, if it didn't appeal to their personal intellectual palates.
But real divine wisdom is tasteless, like water.
Divine wisdom is infinitely beyond the grasp of the human intellect, and in order to tap into it, a judge must renounce any desire to fully appreciate what makes a fair judgment fair.
So the brothers judged Yosef as a matter of personal taste?
Like chocolate or vanilla.
There is Neapolitan.
I don't like strawberry.
Right?
But justice is beyond strawberry.
Justice is beyond taste.
So the judgment of the brothers was wrong.
And I suppose your judgment is better.
Hey, I'm just a little girl. Just a little girl.
Thank heaven for humble little girls.
All right. And that brings us to Rabbi Minkowitz for today.
Welcome to this week's Torah lesson. This week's Torah portion is Parshas Vayishlach. The question of the week is, how can we receive the greatest blessings? So in this week's Torah portion, Parshas Vayishlach, we're going to start off with the Zohar says that Kucha Brichu Yoivle, that God gave to Yaakov Avinu, Shva Esrei Shnin Achrinin. God gave Yaakov an extra 17 years when he existed in the land of Egypt. And it says, B'chido b'yikra b'shlima the kula, which means with simcha, with joy, with happiness, with respect, and completion and everything. That's what the Zohar says. Comes along the Rebbe's father and he explains like this. Yaakov, we know, is the midos, the emotions, the 6 midos. What did he receive in the land of Egypt? Simcha, which is connected to the sphere of Bina. He received respect, which is connected to the sphere of Chachma. And he received the completion of everything, which is KOSHER. That's what the Rebbe's father explains that Yaakov received. So the Rebbe asks, what's the reason why coming into Egypt specifically caused Yaakov to receive Bina, Chachma, and KOSHER? The Rebbe explains as follows. He says it's known, the teaching from the Rebbe Rashab, in reference to the tremendous upgrade that was added to the Alter Rebbe's life, unfortunately, after he was imprisoned and went out on Yutas Kislev. And he says, even though it's hard to say this, but he says, but the truth is as follows. And he gives an example. If you take an olive and you squeeze the olive, that's how you take the oil out. So the same thing also, through the terrible things that the Alter Rebbe went through, for being imprisoned for spreading Yiddishkeit and Chassidus. So what happens afterwards came out tremendous blessings and the tremendous deeper teachings of mysticism and so on and so forth. So Rebbe said the same thing also in reference to Yaakov, specifically by going into the land of Egypt, which as we know is not the land of Israel. In other words, he was squeezed. So what happened is he was able to bring out more internal powers. That means he received Bina and Chachma and KOSHER and so on and so forth. And therefore the Rebbe says the same thing applies to us. After the terrible life that we're all going through in Gullus, the fact is any Jew in Gullus, it's dark. And especially the Rebbe says in the latest times, when the Rebbe said this obviously was after the Yom Kippur War. So through that we receive the tremendous greatest gifts that come specifically through Gullus, the tremendous Gula. So the answer to the question, how can we receive the greatest gifts?
We already earned it. We're in Gullus. We're in exile. And by being in exile, we have all earned the right to receive the greatest gifts from HaKadosh Baruch Hu. So let's hope we receive them ASAP, and we'll all
All right. Seems that got stuck there. That's strange. All right. That now takes us to the saying of Tehillim.
Al Yedei